Hello everyone and welcome to Kirkistown in Northern Ireland, the place host of the next round of the Irish Roadsports and the Northern Irish Se7ens Championships. The field's split into two classes. Class C is where we find the thoroughbred sports cars, the Crossleys and the Radicals, and in Class B, the Caterham inspired cars, Westfields, low-cost strikers. The racing in that class in particular ought to be very competitive indeed. Looking forward to calling this race. I'm off to the commentary box now to see what happens. Well, the cars then head out of the assembly area onto the grid ahead of the first of our two Roadsports races this weekend. Then it is the Class C cars that line up first, headed by Jim Larkham and John Benson from Steve Morris and John McCandless row 2. Ivor Greenwood had issues in qualifying but should move forward from 5th on the grid. Then the Class B cars, Trevor Allen and Mark Francis on row 1 ahead of David Much and Richard Francis. Then Brendan Cunning, Graham Moore and Alan Miller at the back of the field. So there'll be a bit of a delay before the Class B cars make their way off the line. The Class C cars, the more powerful machines, will leave first. That will be in less than 5 seconds' time. Lots of onboards to bring you all of the action over the course of this race. As the red lights go out, away we go. Who gets the best start from row number 1? It's a good start by Benson there. The green Crossley from the inside of row number 1, second on the grid. Will, I think, snatch the advantage into turn number 1. Yes, he does. Larkham slots through into second place, and already Ivor Greenwood going around the outside of John McCandless there into third position. So that's the order then. Benson, Larkham and Greenwood, the top three. Then the Class B cars get underway. We're on board here with Brendan Cunning. Slipstreaming action amongst these Caterham type cars is bound to produce lots of excitement, but David Much didn't get a great start there, or at least a good run through the first corner. He's lost at least one position and is now under pressure from the 94 of Brendan Cunning behind him. The leading trio though in Class C turn their way through the chicane for the first time, and Ivor Greenwood, hugely experienced racer is Ivor, looking to try and capitalise on a good exit from the chicane, but doesn't quite have the horsepower, it would seem, of Jim Larkham, who qualified on pole position by 7/10 of a second and is already going back up the inside of John Benson to reclaim the race lead. And the much newer Radical, better on the brakes as well, slips through on the inside of the hairpin. Now Ivor Greenwood needs to try and follow him through here if he can, gets in the slipstream, pulls out to the left hand side, and in the end John Benson doesn't make life too difficult for Ivor Greenwood there. He moves through into second position now. Got a bit of a race on our hands now, I think, because Ivor, as I said, only did about half of the qualifying session due to mechanical issues, so he always promised better pace than he showed in qualifying yesterday. We're across the start-finish line going with Class B runners, and it's 5 cars together. We're on board with the car that's 4th in the queue. That's David Much, who turns through the first corner at Debtor's Dip under a lot of pressure there from Brendan Cunning, who drives round the outside of him. And it looks as though Much might have an issue here. David Much, yeah, the man who's qualified 3rd on the grid, is pulling off the road at Colonial. So, unfortunately, David Much, our first retirement, and he would have hoped, I'm sure, to get much further than that in this race, but he is out halfway around lap 2. That leaves these cars to debate the race lead. It's Trevor Allen that has the lead of the race. Chasing him down is Mark Francis. They were the top 2 on the grid, and they're the top 2 as they head through the chicane for the second time of asking. That rather delayed Brendan Cunning slightly. There is David Much having a look at the back of the car so we can figure out what the issue is. On board now with Brendan Cunning, heading down the back straight towards the hairpin, but he's just had to lift off the throttle a bit when Much slowed down in front of him. That means that he's lost ground to the leaders, who are squabbling amongst themselves, and it's now Mark Francis, who was almost in front of Trevor Allen there, but Trevor Allen in the grey car fights back again out of the hairpin and will still lead the class across the start-finish line. This, though, is the fight for the overall race lead, and Ivor Greenwood is now starting to really harry Jim Larkham as the two Radicals turn into the chicane once again. Tighter line there for Greenwood, gets in the slipstream, and yeah, you can see that Larkham just got a bit more straight line speed, but not a huge amount more, so Greenwood will fancy his chances here of getting the class lead away. Meanwhile, the battling is still going on here in Class B. Between these two, they're starting to get away now slightly from the cars behind. Trevor Allen and Mark Francis, inseparable at this stage of the race, make their way out of the chicane. Leading to are half a lap clear already though. Ivor Greenwood, we get the Greenwood's eye view again through Debtor's Dip, flat out I'd imagine in these Radicals, and it is the Pro Sport Radical that Ivor Greenwood is piloting. Jim Larkham in a PR06, and side by side again here for the Class B lead. A good exit from the hairpin this time around for Mark Francis, almost puts him up alongside Trevor Allen. But Trevor once again carries good momentum onto the pit straight and manages to stay in front, but both of those cars
seeming to have very similar performance. Not really surprising since they're both running the 1 litre Honda engine, which is the low-cost chassis of Mark Francis and the Westfield chassis of Trevor Allen that are doing battle. Here, the two different Radical chassis, also still with the same 1.3 litre engine though, so it's an E-straight line-speed advantage that appears to be going the way of Jim Larkham. It's coming from aerodynamics rather than engine performance, and he's a bit wide through the hairpin, which maybe does tell us that car runs with a slightly lower aerodynamic setting than the Ivan Greenwood car behind. Greenwood instead focusing to have a slightly more better planted car through the twisty stuff. It's a bit of a compromise, this circuit, because you look at a map of it and you see these long straights and you think, well, you need to run a low drag, high speed setting, but then you get to places like Colonial here and you suddenly start wishing you had a bit more grip. These two are still side by side through the hairpin, and try as he might, Mark Francis just can't quite prise the door open. He's tried the inside, he's tried the outside. Greenwood, though, very much in the race, and he's in the race for the race lead here. He's in the slipstream down the back straight, past the chicanes that they use on the sprint events that take place here at the Kirkistown circuit, and from a long way back he goes through on the inside. That's one of the best moves you'll see all day. Fantastic stuff on the braking there for Ivan Greenwood, and he slips through. I didn't think he was going to get that car stopped then, but he has gone through, and he takes the lead away now then from Jim Larkham. So Jim will be looking to try and fight back again, I'm sure. And also slipping backwards here slightly as the race has gone on. Two Class B cars then out of the hairpin onto another lap. Yeah, they're definitely going to catch Greenwood before much longer. Greenwood actually is struggling to catch that Class B car in front of him, but he's trying to lap actually. He's lapping a bit quicker at him massively. So the 4 car, whatever this issue is, it's clearly not terminal. He's able to keep on limping through, and the car doesn't seem to be slowing quite as dramatically as it did initially, so he's clearly got a good idea of what the problem is, and maybe he's being able to manage it in the car. But there are championship points on offer here, of course. This is a championship. The pit lane, though, and scoring no points from this race is Alan Miller, the number 22 Class B car. But yeah, Ivan Greenwood then is 2 points clear of Jim Larkham in the championship in Class C, so he needs to try and finish this race at least and try and get some good class points. He will still probably get a top 4 in class, but yes, he's going to lose this 4th position overall, because now Trevor Allen and Mark Francis are with him. Trevor Allen drives down the left-hand side of the road, goes through without too much of a problem there, and Ivan actually doesn't allow Mark Francis through quite as easily, and why should he? These are for position, albeit not class positions. You score points for wherever you finish within your class rather than your overall finishing position, so he doesn't really need to race these drivers too much, but yeah, Mark Francis still hasn't appeared alongside us. There he goes on the inside of Colonial, so down into 6th position now then for Ivan Greenwood. And he's now got a good 30 seconds or so, or 20 seconds or so, I think, back to Brendan Cunning, so probably should be able to maintain that margin, you would imagine, as long as the car doesn't slow down and stop completely. This, though, is Jim Larkham, and Jim Larkham looking to reclaim or claim the championship lead away from Ivan Greenwood here. Then Greenwood had won 3 of the first 4 races of the year, and this 5th round of the championship looks as though it's going to go the way of his big championship rival in Class C. This is Brendan Cunning, meanwhile, who arrived here 4th place in the Class B championship. Paul Thompson and Mark Francis were only a point apart at the front of the field, while Paul isn't racing here this weekend, so Francis looks like he'll take the points lead in Class B. Across the start-finish line, though, comes the race leader, and that may well have been the last lap board, I think, that was being held out there for the leader, Jim Larkham. Ivan Greenwood then soldiering on, just needs to get around another lap and a half, I suppose, for him, because he's only at Fisherman's on the previous lap. I don't think he'll quite go a lap down to the leader, but it might be pretty close, actually. Slowed even more dramatically over the last couple of laps as Ivan Greenwood. Through Fisherman's then, for the final time of asking, I believe, comes Jim Larkham, who has had a pretty good day so far. Qualified on pole position by 7/10 of a second. Looks like he's going to win race number 1 by a pretty handy margin as well. Down the final run towards the final hairpin, gets past a couple of back markers as well. Brendan Cunning, look here, catching the John McCandless car. This is for position, but they're about to see the checkered flag, I think, as out of the final corner then comes the race leader, who slows. All of a sudden there's a problem. Would you believe it? Jim Larkham's car now slows. Now, can he get to the start-finish line before John Benson catches him? John was about 10 seconds or so behind. He's got his hand out of the cockpit. The checkered flag is there. Go on, go on, go on, go on. Yes, just gets there, but look how close it was. The green machine of John Benson less than a second behind at the checkered flag. That was near disaster there for Jim Larkham. Second for Benson, then Steve Morris comes home in third position with Trevor Allen fourth, and he takes the victory in Class B. Mark Francis was fifth and second in Class, whilst Ivor Greenwood salvages sixth position, fourth in Class C, but loses the championship lead.
The second and final Roadsports race of the day is about to get underway. The first one earlier on saw a fantastic scrap in Class C in particular that ran right down to the final lap and was decided by less than a second. It's Jim Larkham on pole position overall and in Class C again for this second race. Can he convert that into a second win of the day? We're about to find out.
Well, the rural setting of the Kirkistown circuit about to play host to its second Roadsports race of the day. Jim Larkham and John Benson share the front row ahead of Steve Morris and then Ivor Greenwood. John McCandless coming from the third row of the grid. Keep an eye on the Class B cars as well further back. As we suspected, they produced much of the closest racing in the first race of the day. Well, ready to go racing then for the second time here in the Irish Roadsports and Northern Irish Sevens Championships. Red lights go out, everyone leaving the line together this time, and John McCandless with a storming start there from the inside of the third row of the grid there. The yellow Crossley will almost get the lead into turn one, but it is going to be Jim Larkham, the race one winner, that leads the way. McCandless is second. Third place then for John Benson. He's already back at the inside of the yellow Crossley in his green version to reclaim that position into the right-hander at Colonial. They're all punching together though. McCandless hangs on. Ivor Greenwood now buys into all of this as well. Goes to the inside of both of the Crossleys. There's contact almost as they turn into Fisherman's Bend. He goes through into third position but hasn't quite been able to find a way past McCandless yet. Closes in as they turn into the chicane through the right, through the left. The Radical should have more straight line speed, but he wants to get on with this as quickly as possible because he can see the race leader Jim Larkham getting away. On board now with Steve Morris, who we didn't see much of in the previous race, but he was able to come home in third position for that one. Into the braking zone they go then. Into second place is indeed Ivor Greenwood, then McCandless third. Then this is the battle for fourth position with John Benson just about ahead of Steve Morris, and then the leading Class B runner, and we've definitely had a shuffle there because our race one winner Trevor Allen is nowhere to be seen. Trevor Allen has dropped down, I think, into third position actually, so that looks as though it's Mark Francis that's got the class lead away. On board with Steve Morris now going for fourth place overall, sorry, but actually as he goes to the outside they both get mugged by the leading Class B runner. And there is our race one winner in Class B, number 46. He is indeed down into third position then. Richard Francis, though, unfortunately out of the race. He pulls into Parc Ferme. His day is done, his race is done before it really gets underway. So the two Radicals then into the hairpin for lap number 2 at the head of the field. Back on board with Steve Morris now, down the back straight he goes. No one immediately in front of us, is there anyone behind trying to find a way through there? Let's see, turning into the hairpin, no, he's able to turn into the apex there I think. McCandless though under a lot of pressure here from Mark Francis, who is on real form in this second race it would seem. Pulls alongside the Crossley, the two cars fairly evenly matched in a straight line, but Francis will have the inside line for the first corner. Steve Morris here has a grandstand view of it all and watches it unfold with the blue machine moving ahead, and now he tries to get up the inside of the yellow Crossley into Colonial. Can't quite get through. There are three of these near identical 2-litre Crossleys in the race, and at the moment it's John Benson out in front and then contact. Oh no, the other two Crossleys have taken each other off the road. Well, one of them goes off the road, that's John McCandless. Morris is able to continue but falls behind the next 2 or 3 Class B cars, and he may have some damage to the front left corner after that. It's a very bumpy corner that. Once you go to the inside it's very easy to just bounce wide into the driver you're trying to overtake, and that's what happened. Here's the replay. It's a tempting move to make. The gap is there on the inside. Morris commits to it, but the door is closed. He locks up and slides into John McCandless, who ends up going off backwards. Here's the onboard view. He's quite a long way back, snatches the break, and in fairness, from that view, it's fairly evident that the only person that could have done anything to avoid that contact was Steve Morris. John McCandler's very much the innocent victim there. Well, that has now separated the two classes a bit more now, so the Class B cars are having their own private battle. The leader in Class B, Mark Francis, has checked out, though. This is the fight for second place. Trevor Allen, on race 1 winner, down to third, trying to get himself back into P2 if he can. Leading two in Class C, meanwhile, are at the other end of the back straight. They're turning into the final corner, and Jim Larkham is being caught here by Ivor Greenwood. This, remember, is also the fight for the championship lead as we go into the sort of second half of the season now. Greenwood arrived here 2 points clear of Jim Larkham. Larkham's moved ahead of him by a couple of points now, so the finishing order in this race will no doubt have a real effect on the outcome of the championship come the end of the season. In Class B, meanwhile, we've had the change now for second place, so back into P2 has gone Trevor Allen. There he goes, flashes through across the start-finish line and heads into Colonial, starting already to get ahead slightly now of the 146 car of David Much, who retired on the opening lap, second lap I should say, of race number 1. Was carrying our onboard camera in that race. Sadly, we've not had much luck with those onboards, have we? With everyone carrying onboards in these Roadsports races seeming to run into trouble in one form or another. These two, though, are running strongly at the front of the field. Ivor Greenwood catching the race leader. In fact, he's almost caught him now, so the battle that we enjoyed so much in race 1 is rejoined again. There's your Class B leader then. That's Mark Francis turning through the hairpin as the Class C leaders head into Colonial once more. Ivor Greenwood looking to try and pull off a similar sort of move that he made on Jim Larkham in race number 1, where he managed to slip through the smallest of gaps on the inside of the hairpin from an awfully long way back. Thing is that Jim Larkham now will be expecting that, so he might have to pull something else out of the bag. So back out of the final corner they go then. Greenwood didn't get a great run through there, so Jim Larkham has now been able to pull a few more car lengths advantage. But Greenwood seems to, generally speaking at least, have the pace to catch here. Let us dip once again then. Ivor Greenwood lurking, looming large in the mirrors now of race leader Jim Larkham. And he's starting now to look a little more threatening, isn't he? He's not just sort of following the lead around, but does seem to be looking to find a way through now. Across the start-finish line there, I think that was the Class B leader, wasn't it? Yeah, Mark Francis still extending his margin. The Class B cars, though, C cars, excuse me, get that right in a minute, is heading back into the hairpin once again, and Ivor Greenwood getting even closer that time, but interestingly not able to fire a move either up the inside or the outside, so it doesn't look as though Jim Larkham is wise to that move now. That marker they're going to catch very shortly, though. Needs to try and stay out of the way, which it does, but Ivor Greenwood almost runs into the back of Jim Larkham there as they turn into Colonial. It looks as though it was Cunning, wasn't it? Brendan Cunning, that they were putting a lap on after his spin at that corner a couple of laps ago. So, in the end, Greenwood actually dropping back there, you can see in the distance as they go through. Another car pulling off the road now. Coming out of the first corner, that's Graham Moore, I think, pulling off. Starting to drop like flies, rather, in particularly the Class C runners, and there at the inside goes the number 4 car, exactly where he pulled the move in race 1. Ivor Greenwood goes through past Jim Larkham. Now, he only stayed in front for about half a lap last time around there because he then ran into mechanical issues. Right now, his main issue is keeping Larkham at bay because Jim is fighting back again through turn number 1, down towards Colonial. We know how good Greenwood is under braking, and so there's no way that Larkham's going to fight back up the inside there. The double apex right-hander over the bumps, then fling it through the left, and already Greenwood starting to pull away. And Ivor Greenwood with Jim Larkham now demoted to second. Can Greenwood hang on this time? Down into the hairpin. We're about to start the final lap of the race, though, and Jim Larkham is not letting Greenwood escape. It could be that Greenwood's time is just right. Okay, for the final corner slowly there, did he, Ivor Greenwood, or was that just a strange line he took? He certainly didn't seem to be hanging the tail out like he usually does. On to the final lap of the race then. And Ivor Greenwood, well, he will now be hearing every clunk, every knock, every rattle that car is making, because he knows that he ran into those mechanical problems this part of the circuit in race 1, and it does look as though Jim Larkham's catching. Surely lightning isn't striking twice here for the race leader Greenwood. It might be, you know, because Larkham has another look up the inside there into Fisherman's Bend. The rest of the Class B runners coming through, the Class B leader in fact there coming through onto his final lap. Looks like Mark Francis will get the victory, but at the head of the field, who is going to take the win overall and in Class C? Ivor Greenwood's got a few car lengths in hand over Jim Larkham into the final corner, but that car does not seem to be accelerating again. It's slow off the hairpin. Jim Larkham will have a much better run to the start-finish line. It's going to be a really, really close finish, but Ivor Greenwood, I think, will just hang on by 0.2 of a second to take the victory over Jim Larkham in second. Mark Francis is third and takes the Class B victory, with David Much second and Brendan Cunning in third. Alan Miller and Trevor Allen were next. In fact, Trevor Allen was a non-finisher. The race 1 winner in class did not get to the end in race 2, but what a race and what a finish, with Ivor Greenwood just hanging on.
Well, Ivor, you couldn't really have made that much more difficult for yourself, could you?
I haven't got the hang of starting this car. I spent too long in Legends with rolling starts, and now we're back to clutch starts. I make a mess of it every time, so I'm left on the grid, and then I have to work hard to get back to the front. So difficult.
You got the lead back, didn't you? And then what happened at the end?
The smoke's flying out of my brakes, and the smoke's flying out of me, more to the point. I really miss my old mate Steve McCall doing engineering, and maybe I'll pack this up and go back to Legends in Scotland. I miss Stevie looking after me, you know. It was a good fun when I was racing with him. But it's good fun, and the weather stayed nice, and big turnout for the 500 Motor Club, which was nice to see.